Welcome back to the Holotable Games Network. I'm Ginger Joey.
And I am Little Death, aka
Little,
Corey.
because you didn't hear me give you your cue. Is that what that was?
Yeah, I was 100% in. I was like, wait, we're starting? Okay, let's go. No,
Uh,
I will also say, don't even try to guess. Neither of you are going to guess. It's from a movie that isn't even technically out yet.
Wait, Little
I
Death
got
was
to see
actually
it.
from a movie reference? I thought that was just you being not tuned into something. So,
No, it's a movie reference.
yeah.
For those that are interested and those that want to guess, it's from Teenage Sex and Death in Camp Miasma, which comes out next week, I think. Technically, but I got to catch a preview screening with the director and one of the stars doing a Q&A, and
Let me guess.
it's really
At the
good.
Hollywood Theater.
No, at the Tomorrow Theater.
Oh, okay.
We have a
We
lot of movie theaters in Portland.
We are joined by our local friend Cicero, who was at Galactics with us, and we are having him join us for this SWUmary because this is our Galactics SWUmary, where we're going to go over our experiences at Galactics this year. And why is Cicero joining us? Well, because Corey wasn't there, and we need more content than just me.
Yeah, no.
Also,
I can talk about all I did at home while I watched, the stream.
that's true. You were paying attention. I did get text
Yeah,
messages from you. But
yeah, I
also,
was watching.
Cicero is capable of bringing us a little bit of a different perspective as he worked as a staff member during Galactics this year. So he can give us that little behind the scenes perspective. So, Cicero, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for joining us.
yeah, happy to be here.
So, to start things off with, I was there. I competed in the last chance qualifier. I, typical Joey fashion, at the very last minute, built my deck at 4 p.m. on Friday or Thursday, the night before we had to actually compete in the tournament. So, through talking with some friends, I ended up just building a last minute Ahsoka blue deck. After thinking about it, I definitely would have made some tweaks to it, but them the breaks. I ended up going 5-3 in the last chance qualifier. You can only lose one match, but I still punched it out just because you get the bonus silver packs if you actually got some extra wins. One of my losses was a little lesson learning for me. Let's just put it that way, where there was some manipulation of life totals before things should have been manipulated, but since neither one of us were writing things down, there was no
Mhm.
record to actually go back and look at. Therefore, I just had to concede to what it was because I felt
Ugh.
even making a judge call at that point in time would have been irrelevant because what are they going to do? It's a he said, she said situation at that point in time. The other two losses were pretty diligent spankings that I took at that point in time, mainly to the blue green villainy. One of them was what is it? A Krennic Blue who got the 4 resource pre Vizsla 2 games in a row against me. There is
Of
very
course.
little I can do against that. So it just was like well, you got your combo, I didn't get mine. GG.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That doesn't feel great.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was what it was.
So what did you actually go up against all day? Do you have a list of the decks that you hit for the day or not?
I can go back and look at my record if they want to in the thing, but ultimately this is the thing. I was sideboarding and teching against Cad Bane blue because you figure that's going to be the most dominant thing. Ahsoka,
Yeah.
the mirror, would have been the other most dominant thing. Guess what? I didn't face a single match of Ahsoka or Cad Bane. So my
Of course.
sideboard and prep work meant nothing at that point in time. So
Yeah.
it was what it was. And then after that, because of the way they set things up, the Open, which was the next day on Saturday, if you did not qualify for the main event, you could play in the Open if you wanted to. And they made the Open very lucrative for the tickets for the prize wall. So
Yes.
I wasn't originally going to do it, but then I decided, you know what? It's like $50. You got 16 or 1800 tickets just for sitting down at the table. And then every single win you got gave you another 600 on top of that. So it was like, oh, this is like no brainer here. And
Yeah.
realistically, most people, some people were playing for the next season points. Most of the people that were playing in the open were just kind of splitting tickets. They didn't really care. It's like we're here just to grind tickets, and this is the most lucrative thing we're going to do. We're just going to chop out. Here, you take 3, I take 3, and then we'll just play the game, and whoever wins, wins. It doesn't really matter, kind of thing. For most
Yeah.
people, it didn't matter. And that was really nice because it took so much pressure off of what was actually going on in the game, kind of thing. And I did the open last year, did very well in it. I didn't care this year. And I just like the fact that like I didn't want to put that pressure on myself. I played a different deck in that. I played a Grief Red where I was just trying to like aggro burn down and get the games over and done with kind of thing.
That's
It
fair.
was a my flavor of Grief Red, and it had some things that really caught some players off guard that they're like, oh, that's nice tech. So that was kind of good to see and good to hear it as well. But yeah, so I just split out some things and then went on to side events. And for me, the side events were something I did not get to participate in last year. I had my
Mhm.
side event tickets from the package that I bought to go there, and I got to spend some of the tickets. And they were run butter smooth this year in comparison to last year.
Which
You
is
basic,
great because
yeah,
last year was a mess,
yep,
a
yep, yep,
giant mess. Like so,
yep.
yeah, that's a huge improvement for fantasy flight.
FFG learned a lot of lessons and they took them to heart. Cicero will comment on this because he actually saw something behind the scenes, which was very encouraging to actually hear from his perspective, but I'll let him tell you about that in a minute. But they learned their lessons and you just silly filled out a slip, walked through a little L-shaped line, and then got to the front, and then they kind of pulled everybody together, put them off in a side row, and then once the whole pod was filled, they sat you at a table and let you go kind of thing. And again, a lot of
Way to
people
do
on
it.
side events were just chopping out tickets. Maybe you weren't supposed to be doing this kind of thing, but as long as the whole pod agreed, who cares kind of thing. It's you're meant to have fun. And nobody was begrudgingly getting upset about anything because it's like it's a casual environment in that regard. It's like you're all just grinding for the same thing. You want the prize wall tickets so you can get the swag and take it home with you. And FFG don't want to be taking it home with them, so why not? Who cares kind of thing, right? So
Yeah.
it was nice to be able to do that. I did 2 drafts and 2 Twin Suns pods. Cicero and I played in the Twin Suns pods together. That was fun, and he got what came to him. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Oh,
So
always a good
overall,
time.
this was a banger of a convention. I think it was, I would say, 95% improvements. The only thing that I think was a big miss is whoever numbered those tables for the matches needs to go back to school because that was the most annoying thing to have to figure out when you got your pairings. They like snake put the numbers through the tables or something, so you'd be looking over here and you're like in the 200s. The very next table jumps to 500, like what the hell just happened, kind of thing. And like, if nothing else, they needed the grocery store aisle signs. Like this table section has these numbers between this number and this number. Something that I could like look above the crowd and at least kind of navigate where I was supposed to be going ahead of
Yeah.
time. I think it would have made things go a lot smoother. That honestly is, I think, my only gripe about the entire con. Everything else was like apples and oranges from last year. So
That's fair. I mean, yeah, that's a fair gripe. I was thinking the one other gripe maybe for you would be potentially the costs of those showcases that were also still ridiculous again this year.
Yes. So when I was looking at the initial price points on them, I personally felt they should have been only 1,000 instead of 2,000 per showcase. That said, when I saw how easily it was to grind, and because everyone was
That's
splitting
fair.
out the drafts, because a draft would get you 6,000 total tickets for all 8 participants. Most people
Okay.
were splitting it. 4 people get 800, 4 people get 700. So if you say, okay, I'm doing a draft, I pay 3 side event tickets, I'm getting a minimum of 700 tickets. You do 3 drafts, that's a showcase. And people were like
That's fair.
burning through drafts. Like you could get through like the drafts in 2 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes, somewhere in there. And there was lots of people that were capable and did grind out the 16K for a full set of showcases. My thought was average person probably not going to do that. So 8K would have been a much more reasonable number to hit, about 5K a day, to then convert those into your showcases. Plus, if you wanted a mat, plus if you wanted the acrylic bases or something, you can get a
Yeah.
little extra beyond the showcases. But that's about it. And like I said, I think I ended up with like 6,000 tickets. I got the 2 showcases that I wanted to make a Twin Suns deck with. I got a set of the acrylic bases. I got 1 mat, and I think that was it. And I was fine with that. I mean, I wasn't really nothing enamored me off of that wall that much. The acrylic bases are just kind of like nice and tactile. That's what I really wanted to go for
Yeah.
those. But I was gonna go for the deck pod, but they switched which deck pod was on the prize wall like the day of or the day
Oh.
before. So it was the green one instead of the blue one. I wanted the blue one, so I was just like, okay, well, say levy. But
Yeah, that makes
that was about
sense. Yeah,
yeah.
I wanted to touch on that just because I wasn't here, so I was not there, so I didn't get a firsthand feel of the tickets. I knew last year it felt ridiculous just because everything was messed up with tickets last year. But yeah, good to hear that it seemed at least fairly reasonable in general. Like you could acquire enough tickets to get there. Yeah,
Yeah. Like I said,
that
I mean,
aspect. Yeah.
I got everything I wanted with just the 10 event tickets plus the 2 events that I did that were like pre-bought ahead of time, which weren't event tickets viable. So I got everything I wanted. And like I said, it was like, and I had a whole like day that I could have ground for more if I wanted to, but I was just like, no, I'm just chilling, casual, having
Yeah,
fun.
Yeah,
that's
So
I would say I did the opposite, right? I didn't split. I'm not a big fan of the whole like. I mean, boo me all you want, but I'm not a fan of the participation. Like I want to grind out what I grind out. So the first draft I did, I went 3-0. So that was 1,800 tickets. That's pretty much the showcase I got, Dooku. So I was really happy. The next two I went 0-3, right? Like it was just kind of bad luck, just the way the draft goes. So I ended up with like what 300 tickets. It was really bad. I think like 600 total. So I was I mean, I think an hour and a half per draft was more reasonable.
yeah.
Obviously, I was doing one on my lunch break and ended up having to concede just because the person was happy. Hey, I got a free win and you don't have to split with me. But that was a little frustrating. Just, I guess it depends on the pod you're with. Obviously, if you're with your friends, shout out to all the 8-man groups or 8 people groups that were out there just kind of grinding
yeah,
it out. Like within 45 minutes, I was a little jealous. But at the same time, it was a great way to meet people in the community and just be like, oh, like, talk to somebody from upstate New York about how their store showdowns are going or how their time in SWU is going, or somebody from Seattle or Idaho or whatever it may be. So that was a pretty cool experience. Is like you're almost forced to make new friends, which I love. I'm a huge fan. I mean, this community's been so amazing, and so just kind of going to this event as a first timer because I didn't go last year,
yeah.
and I don't regret not going because of all the negative comments.
You're better.
Um,
You were better off not going last year. It
yeah,
was rough. It was very
yeah,
rough.
and I went as a staffer this year, but I still had my VIP, so I could swap back and forth, during lunch break, and still get all the cool prizes and cool swag for whatever reason. So no, it was cool. It was really well done. I will say the side events were 99%. I was happy. I will say I love Carbonite. I love Carbonite drafting that idea. I wanted to do something like that. Couldn't because I was number 65th in line, and that kind of sucked. And
Of course.
so it's so hard to gather a bunch of people to be like, hey, let's Carbonite draft. Nobody wants to blow $150, regardless. So that kind of sucked, but otherwise, yeah, I had a great time. I definitely would next year try to get a pod together, but again, you miss out on like human interaction. You miss out on like meeting new people and hearing their stories, which I mean, Comic Cons have been doing for decades, and now we get to do that as a SWU community. So
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
agree
Well,
with you. There was a pod of 4 guys from the local Beaverton area here. All they did was stayed as a foursome and just rinse and repeated Twin Sons games over and over and over and over again. And it was like, that's how they ground their tickets. That's how they chose to do that. I personally agree with you, Cicero. Like, one of my favorite moments in the entire con was actually after hours. We met up, Alex and I, and we met the Salty Smugglers guys at the food court at the Venetian after the entire con was done for the day, and we sat there and played Twin Sons games with them, like 2 rounds of that for till like midnight before we finally went back to our hotel room. That was the best for me. Was like we weren't even involved in the con; we were just chilling, and
yeah.
that was amazing. I love that. That was my favorite moment of the entire con was those games in the food court with them, and they're from Chicago, so
Yeah. Well, I am jealous of your experience. I'm sad I missed out. I should be there next year. Yeah, I mean, there's no way I'm missing out on next year. We're playing at Disney resorts. Sure, I'll do that. So I'll be there next year at least. So we'll have the whole showing next year. But that said, Cicero, can you tell us a little bit about what your experience was like working as a staffer there? How did that feel?
Yeah, I mean, I originally was going to go and play in the LCQ, and then work has just been so crazy. I think we can all feel that, and so I was like, hey, what if I just work the event? So I applied with the Merchant Guild. Somebody had posted on a Facebook group that I'm a part of. 18,000 of us are a part of that group. So if you're not a part of it, join Star Wars Unlimited Facebook group. It's pretty easy. Anyways, I applied. They asked some basic information. I filled out a bunch of things on their time management platform, and then they said yay or nay. Most of us, I mean, we were pretty understaffed. It felt like, so I bet they still had plenty of room. It was a great way to have one, make a little money on the side for the event. Two, get your room comped. Three, get a travel stipend. And so it kind of just worked out where I broke even to go to the event. Plus, I still had my VIP, which I know is a pain. Everybody knows how much of a pain that was to get last year. So
Mhm.
again, apologies from a staffing point. I don't have any control of it, unfortunately, but hopefully next year they make it a little bit more easier for everybody. But um, you had a couple hours of training. It was very simple. I was in line management. So if you recognize me, I was the Mexican Jack Black looking dude in front directing traffic, trying to engage with the people. We know it's
Yeah.
6 a.m., 7 a.m., and you don't want to be engaged with, but when you're standing there for like 12 hours and you're just bored out of your mind and you're like, I need something. So I will say it's like watching paint dry 90% of the time, but the time you get to interact with the SWU players is probably the most fun. Shout out to Mog, super friendly dude. I had no idea who you were, and I apologize. I mean, you seem very important in Brazil, and I want to shout you out because your community loved you so much. And watching that interaction, like as a bird almost, like a bird on a perch, was kind of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
the energy from the Brazilians, from the Chileans, right? Like it was so authentic and it was so pure. And it just reminds me how amazing this community is. Yeah, we have some toxic players, just like any other TCG, but just seeing it from a staff
Sure.
perspective and hearing the compliments to staff, it does feel good, right? Like I wasn't there last year, but I'll tell you, the morning we met up to work the event, you could hear people being like, look, these are the issues that happened last year. Please pay attention and don't let those happen again. So the
Yeah.
Merchant Guild, FFG, FF, like all these little groups that work, alongside FFG, like they thought of it, right? They thought of like, how do we make this better? Because the community means so much. I want to shout
Yeah.
out the FFG marketing team because during the Homeworlds presentation, like a really cool thing I saw was a couple people from the marketing team just watching the YouTube chat and like actively reacting and like thinking like,
Sure.
oh, like have we thought about this? Like look at what somebody said. Have we thought about that? And it was just nice to see that instant feedback and like you could see the FFG staff just really care. Asmodee as well. So just something to think is like, hey, they're actively watching for feedback and they're actively looking at our comments. And it's easy to complain, to be honest. I work in customer service and in sales. I can tell you right now, it's so easy to just give a bad review. But think about just giving good reviews, like letting
Yeah.
people know what's working, what's not working, but also come with a suggestion.
What's
You
what's
know,
the age old like marketing thing is it's the compliment sandwich, right? One positive,
exactly.
then the negative, and then finish it up with a positive kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, we're gonna work on some stuff, but hey, you're doing this stuff great. So don't stop doing this stuff because it was fantastic.
Yes.
That
Yeah,
And
said,
100%.
I will say, I want to add to that also. I think that is worth mentioning and worth bringing in here that I really appreciate both, as Cicero mentioned, the community of Star Wars is really good. Honestly, this is one of the better TCG communities I've seen. And I think largely because most of us are old people that love Star Wars. And there's a lot of us olds in here, and we just have no patience for the BS anymore. Like, no, cut that shit out. So we've kind of driven out a lot of the bad element. Not that there is not still some. There's always
Yeah,
going to be some. They'll pop up, but in general, this community is great, and I think that was highlighted in everything you saw coming out of Galactics last year. Is a lot of us said there were a lot of problems, but it was very, you can go back and watch our old videos about it. Like there was a lot of conversation of there were a lot of pain points, but it was the first year. They're trying their best. We really hope that Fantasy Flight can do better. And these is what they need to work on. But it was very much a conversation in that aspect, and I think that worked out very well. And it shows that they listened. They've improved since then, and yeah, the community. There's still probably things they can work on. Some of the pricing potentially, I still think could take some rethinking potentially. But overall, vast improvement from what I could see from my perspective.
If we're gonna get the improvement level from last year to this year, if they hold up to the same kind of like percentage increase, next year's gonna be freaking out of this park kind of thing.
Well, and
I would
also worth
say
mentioning for next year. One more thing I wanted to say. Sorry, I'm talking about. I'm rambling again, but I do want to mention. So next year, as mentioned, is Disney Resorts is going to be where it's at, and that very well may mean that the final. They wanted to do this the first year, but they weren't able to get into schedule. But they want to have the finals at in Disneyland in the actual park in that Star Wars area. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it because obviously there's a lot of logistics involved. Obviously, all the bystanders can't be there, but I'm expecting they're probably going to be trying to say for the top 8 or for the finals, we're going to bring you all into Disneyland to play at the Galactic. What's it called? The Galactic.
the cantina or whatever. The
Cantina or whatever. Yeah. So knock on wood. I hope that's happening. Because that could be really cool to see.
my understanding from what I heard, again, hearsay, is that they're moving to Disneyland to coincide with like the 50th anniversary of A New Hope or something like that. So it's all supposed to correlate together with
Yep.
Disney properties. It also makes sense that Disney wants to kind of bring things in-house so that they're paying less money because it's all kind of like, hey, we're not paying to rent out a convention center somewhere else. We can just do it on our own backyard at that point in time.
Yeah.
I
The
will say
reason,
though,
and that's worth mentioning, the reason that it was at Vegas last year and this year was they kind of got started late on their planning for last year. So it was really where can we find space quickly that can accommodate this quickly and not going to charge out of the ass, whatever we want to say. I don't know, but so that was why Vegas fell in there. And I'm pretty sure, knowing Vegas contracts, they had at least a 2-year requirement, and that's why we had to do it again this year. But I think it must have been just a 2-year, which is less than the normal 3-year that I'm used to. But it looks like they just had a 2-year contract, and now they can go elsewhere now.
or they paid the exit clause to get out of the contract early, which could exist. I don't know. We
Also
don't know
possible.
the contract.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I heard a lot of grumbling about from players, especially that were playing in the main event, was Cicero brought up the home worlds preview and all the video and the whole what's happening next year and everything else like that. They were in the middle of a round when all of that production
Really?
started. And it's like, you couldn't have waited 15 more minutes. Yes, you have a schedule you want to keep, but if you got a late start, like you're having this blaring audio and video running when players are trying to focus on their mat to go on. They should have paused that, waited. All the Galactics players that are in the main event get to go on their lunch break, because that was the other thing. They actually gave us lunch breaks instead of making us grind 9 rounds and stuff like that, which that was so
That's
nice,
nice.
right? So
Yeah.
again, another big improvement. But don't start the production video, which people obviously want to watch and pay attention to, in the middle of a round. Wait till it's
Yeah.
done. Cause a pause, go to lunch, then do the video that's going to last 20 minutes or something, then do the next round. That was the only other, I think, fail moment that they had for the production of the entire weekend. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that's an issue. That they shouldn't be doing that.
it's an
That's
easily
bad.
rectifiable issue, though. That's not something that I expect
Yeah.
to happen next year, to be perfectly honest. So, but
Yeah. 100%.
like I said, though, I had a great time. Cicero, you didn't go last year, but you went this year. I mean, you would go again?
Yeah, I'd go again. And it's gonna sound wrong. Staffing, I had a great time. Met a lot of really cool people. I'll be honest. My most fun experience was actually directing Backstreet Boys. Lines. I had way too much fun with my colleague Kevin. He was making amazing jokes, and I was definitely pulling a George Lopez, stealing them, and And just going with it. But it was such a fun crowd that we usually don't get to be a part of. I mean, Star Wars fans, right? Like I'm a huge Backstreet Boys fan, anyways, so it was really fun. But I'd want to play. I definitely. I mean, there's 3,000 people there. Probably 100 of us were from Oregon, and maybe even another 50 to 100 from Seattle and Vancouver. And so, like, everybody saying hi, all of you stopping by while I was working, saying hi and making sure I was okay. If I needed medicine, I brought the wrong shit. Energy drinks, shout out to Quattro for the Red Bull. But I would want to play, but if it's too expensive of a trip for you, like reach out to me, Toxic Jesus, on Discord, and I'm happy to kind of walk you through the process and help you out. Because I'll tell you right now, there's no reason you shouldn't work the event and still maybe even get to play a little bit.
Wait, isn't it Toxic Jesus? What? Come on, you're Mexican. Come on.
Unfortunately, yeah. It sounds way cooler.
So
Now you're
Cicero,
making me.
Speaking of our toxic players, right here.
Yeah.
Cicero, how many total hours were you required to work the event for?
So I got really lucky. I worked about 24 hours. I would say on average, you probably work 32 to 36 hours. But sometimes there's nothing to do and they ask for volunteers to leave. And I said, hey, I'm also here as a player. I have my own badge as well to get in. I'm not just with a staff badge. And my manager was like, hey, let me ask around and make sure everybody's, the people that want to leave can leave. But at the same time, I knew I was there to work. So I said, hey, I'll check Discord every hour if you need me to come back, because we also want to make sure the players get the best experience they deserve. Because I, as much as I want to play for a day, like I want this to go on for years and years and years. I don't want this game to die off. And so small sacrifice, right, for the staffers to be there. But we also had a great time. We also had a lot of fun. We got to see how the sausage was made, We don't
they gave
realize
you some sweet swag as well, right? You got some sweet swag out of it.
Yeah, we got some sweet swag. I went in not expecting it, to be honest, because I was like, oh, cool, free hotel room. Like I'm very grateful. But yeah, we got some sweet swag. Maybe we'll do a little giveaway, in the future. Wink, wink. If I can convince Joey and Corey. It was just, again, like just the way everything was handled so smoothly. It's so nice to see that it's such a big improvement. So if you want to be a part of that, like definitely check out Merchants Guild. That's the group I worked with, and I just had a great time. They're at Gen Con right now, by the way. Some of them got home for a day and then went straight to Gen Con to work that event.
Oh, exhaustion. Brutal.
I kid you not. I lost 5 pounds that weekend. No joke. And I know for everybody here that doesn't sound like very impressive, but I've been plateaued for so long. I was like, wow. I came home and I was like, I walked like 120,000 steps in 5 days. It's like Disney with the wrong shoes, by the way. Heads up, you want arch support.
Yes, do that, please.
And so come Disneyland, we're going to be playing, hopefully in the LCQ and placing, but then we're going to go to Disneyland until midnight. And so I'm super excited, just like Corey, to be like, hey, potentially get to play in Disneyland. That's going to be so cool. It's going to be so amazing.
Yeah. I think it'll be they're going to go all out on this event. That's the nice thing. It's like this is going to be the big one. And yeah, you're right. I wasn't even thinking about that. It is the 50-year anniversary for New Hope next year. So
for those that don't know, though,
celebration.
The Galactics next year are in May, not July.
There is that, yes.
So they are pushing it up a couple months. And so that I think the biggest gripe that I've heard about the time schedule, lots of kids are still in school. They're not done. And so it's not as much of like a family pull to bring everybody as you would think it might be. And so that might end up being something that bites them in the butt. But I think it is just basically because they're trying to coincide with the release of the anniversary. But
I mean, to say this one thing, I mean, I'm a father. I have an 18-year-old who's about to go to college. It's one day that they're missing of school, maybe 2 days. Like, make those memories. I'm sorry, but missing a couple of days of class, your kid's still probably going to go to Yale or community college or the military, whatever they end up doing. It's not going to matter. I'm sorry, it's not. Maybe I'm the worst parent ever, and that I'm totally okay with that.
I mean, yeah, of course you are, obviously.
Yeah. Worst parent ever. So I would say make the memories. Like I definitely took my kid out of high school to go on fun trips because I wish my parents did that for me. So if you need bad parenting advice, like Cicero's got you. Okay, I got you
Is it?
covered.
Do we actually have? Is it early May, late May? When is it exactly? Do we have an
Late
exact
May.
date on?
It's
Yeah, late May.
Okay, so it is. So they are essentially overlapping it with the release date of New Hope because that was May 25th.
and I think this is the 27th of May.
Yep. So they're really trying to get as close as possible. So
I mean,
probably gonna have some
like
fun related to it.
Top seven Star Wars movie, right? Do we all agree here?
New Hope.
New Hope is the top 7. Yeah, I can agree on that. Yeah, it's
top
definitely top. I mean, there's no question about that.
Yeah, it's no episode 1. I think we can all agree that's a top 3, top 2 movie. Not to cause some drama.
Boy. Oh boy. Oh yeah, you're a little bit younger than us, aren't you? You're that type. I am. You're the prequel series type.
I was 11 when the prequel. Oh, I love the prequels. I'll die on the prequels. I can't wait till we get a Jar Jar leader. I'm just saying we better get a Jar Jar leader before Galactics.
I mean, all I care is I'm getting my Ewoks. I want my Wicket leader. I want my Ewok deck, which I'm getting at Homeworlds, and that's all I'm playing from that point forward. I don't care.
You're gonna go 0 and 8 at the LCG.
I don't care. I'm playing Ewoks. That's all there is to it. Well, all right. We're rambling a bit. We're going off topic. I did want to, before we finish up, I want to throw a quick shout out to some of our locals. We talked about some of these events. We had some of our locals do very well in them. So in the Galactic Open, I think is worth highlighting. One of our premier local players, Kiri, he's been on the show before. A friend of the show, been on before. He placed, was it 43rd? I think it was.
I don't remember the exact ranking. I do know he was in top 64. So
yeah, he was top 64. That got him qualified for next year already, so he's all set. So props to him. He was excited. He did a great job. Nothing exciting deck wise. It was a Boba Blue, or a Cad Blue. Sorry, not Boba.
So,
it was a Cad Blue, but he had a little spice to
it. To give Kiri the shout out, he only knew that deck for about a week, and then he just hopped in and just obliterated the competition. So I will say, like, the skill level of some of these players are kind of amazing, right? Like it's just really cool to see, and so I really hope we get to see. I hope we get to see more unique tech decks in the future, right? Like, oh, Cat Blue, like, but he still plays top 64, and I think that's impressive nonetheless. Also, I think the funny part too was he had to leave that day. So like he had to grind out his.
It's like I gotta get the flight.
It was so funny.
I love Kiri. So yeah, props to him, and yeah, I mean Kiri's a fantastic player. That's one thing I think we're spoiled for in the Portland area. You mentioned before we had like 100 some of players that were at Galactics. We have a lot of very good players in the Portland area, which sucks for some of us that would like to do better in PQs and such up here because the competition is so brutal, but it's also really good for all of our games because we're playing very good players all the time. So props there. The other big props is in our 2 Galactic Opens. One of the Galactics Open was won by one of our local players, Carson, on his Iden Blue that he's been playing since, I think, Spark of the Rebellion, basically. So, or Iden Green, that was, sorry.
This was the Eternal Open.
The Eternal Open. Yeah, because it's Iden. But yeah. Yeah, so he brought out his Iden and rolled the competition as he has been. It's a terrifying deck. I've played it before. It's scary. It's very scary.
The combo that he pulls off is redonkulous in that deck. So
yeah, Carson is another just insanely good player up here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yep. The other Eternal, because there was 2 of them, both capped at 128 players, which I think they need to open that to more options next year.
Yes.
I think that was a little too limiting for the number of players that were there. As soon as one sells out, start another one. As soon as one sells out, start another one. Keep firing them until they don't sell out. That would be what I would recommend for going forward. But the second one was won by Philip, last year's Galactic champion, and he won with an Anakin leader from the Twin Suns decks. So those pre-cons, he took that leader, and apparently, from what I heard, Thork gave him the deck at breakfast that morning and told him what to do with the deck and how it's supposed to run.
Yep.
And he won the entire thing. So you talk about calibers of players and the ability to just kind of pick up and go. There's that feather for his cap because. Oops.
Yep.
I mean, is this the development of a new format where you randomly pick up a deck that's been pre-made, right? And you just play a tournament with that? I think that'd be kind of fun. Very much like
That would be
luck of
fun,
the
yeah.
draw, but also the caliber of player that we get. Again, it's just so impressive how some people can just pick something up and be like, you know what, I know exactly what to do here.
No, here's
Yeah.
what
Well,
you
and
do.
it also highlights for Eternal how, yes, we know Django's really good. You have to have a battle plan for Django. You're going to see a lot of Djangos. So you have to have your deck planned for that. But there's a lot more open, and that keeps broadening every new set. Rolls into Eternal. It gets broader and broader. There's a lot of room for new, hey, this didn't work before, but maybe it can work ideas, or new leaders like that with Twin Suns. Well, let's try this new leader, see if we can build something around it. So there's a lot of space for the development of decks in Eternal that I think people need to look more closely at.
So I got it.
Also,
Instead of a draft pod, it's a build a deck pod. And when you get there, you swap decks with other players. So then you have to play a deck that you didn't build that somebody else built for you. And then you're playing in that pod alone. So it's 8 players swapping decks. And then that's the deck that you have for the run. And if you build a really crappy deck thinking that, you'll be able to curb stomp them, but if everybody else builds the exact same way, then you're all playing crappy decks. And then it's like, does that really work? Or do you build banger decks? And then you can just say, hey, I didn't win, but I built the winning deck. That's like feather in my cap. I got that one for you.
Well, I mean, I think you solve that by you get an incentive for, if you built the winning deck, you get prizes as well. Like if the person that played it gets prizes, but also the person who built it, and then you're incentivized to try to build a good deck.
Sure. So who knows? Maybe that's another format, but don't forget, I also created another format, which we're going to tap into a little bit later. So stay tuned to the channel for that. I want to thank you, Cicero, for joining us and giving us the behind-the-scenes look at what it was for working at Galactics. We never had that experience up until you joined us. Corey, pleasure as always. Hopefully you'll actually be there next year. You're rat.
Heck yeah. I'm planning on it for next year. I'm all in. Well, it also helps that I could probably make a work trip out of it and spend the first half of the week in SoCal as a work trip, and that saves me a little bit on plane ticket costs. So
glad you put that on the internet ahead of time. Way to go, dingus.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you guys very much.
My boss does not care. That's the nice thing.
We'll catch you next time. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.
All right.